Be a podcast. Be a podcast. Grab your pom-poms and head to Rancho Carne High School as we watch the cheerleading classic Bring It On, starring Kirsten Dunst, Eliza Dushku, and Gabrielle Union. Is this movie still the poo, or does it need to take a diet Prozac? Take a big whiff and find out on this episode of Blind Spots and Second Thoughts. Welcome to Blind Spots and Second Thoughts. I'm Heather.
I'm Dan.
And I'm just going to jump right in and ask what you know about Bring It On.
Bring It On. And I know that it is a teen dance movie from...
Dance?
Cheerleading?
Mm-hmm.
Cheerleading is a form of dance.
Okay.
This is the cheerleading movie. It's from the late 90s or the early 2000s, which blend together. I really do in my head. I mix it up with all of the dance movies. And there's that other cheerleading movie that you and I watched with.
Yeah, Fired Up.
Yeah. So I have seen a cheerleading movie before that is of this ilk, but that one is not remembered as fondly as this one. But I'm going to be perfectly honest, this is getting mixed up in my head with the Step Up movies and Bring It On. Wait, Bring It On is what we're doing.
Yeah, Bring It On is what we're doing.
What's the other one with Julia Stiles?
Save the Last Dance? No. Yes.
I don't know. So yeah, I know that this is the one that is about cheerleading, and I believe it is, if I remember correctly, it might be problematic because it is a group of primarily white cheerleaders against a group of primarily black cheerleaders, and I do believe the primarily black cheerleaders are the antagonists of the film, but I might be wrong.
I'm gonna let you watch and see.
Okay. But I don't know is Eliza Dushku in this?
Eliza Dushku is in it.
Okay. I don't know who else is in it.
Okay. You know anything else?
No, it's cheerleading. It's early 2000s, and it's probably problematic.
All right.
Which most movies from the early 2000s
truly,
are problematic.
That goes without saying, I think. So this movie was released on August 25th, 2000.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
Right there between the late 90s and early 2000s. Yeah. I saw this in theaters. I was in my freshman year of high school, just starting my freshman year of high school. I know. You're older than me. What are we going to do about it? But I was a cheerleader in middle school and then also in my first semester of freshman year of high school. And then I left the cheerleading squad.
Did this movie disabuse you of cheerleading?
No, I don't know. I left the squad, but for unrelated reasons. But I went to see this in the theaters with two of my cheerleader friends that I met going into high school. It was directed by Peyton Reed.
Oh, Peyton Reed, I do know. He's directed some Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm. He would go on to direct Ant-Man and its sequels, 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, and most importantly, clearly, 3 episodes of New Girl, including The Landlord, which is the episode where Nick and Jess almost have a threesome with their landlord.
I vaguely remember that one.
So I think this movie was a pretty big success. It had an $11 million budget and it grossed $90.5 million at the box office. It ended up having 6 sequels, which were all direct to video. 6
sequels. There are 6 Bring It On
There are
sequels.
6 Bring It Ons, but all of them were direct to video except for the first one. In addition to Eliza Dushku, it stars Kirsten Dunst.
Okay.
Gabrielle Union, Jesse Bradford, and Shamari Fears and Natina Reed, who were from the 2000s girl group Black. Blaque. Do you remember Black?
No.
Now I can't remember what their big song was. They had a big hit song. As if, I'm never gonna take you back. As if. No?
No.
Okay. I mean, you were a young person at this time. You were.
No, I know. I did not listen to a lot of... That was the era of manufactured pop bands, and I tried to avoid a lot of those. Not out of snobbery. I just thought it was kind of trash.
That sounds pretty snobbish.
Yeah, well...
Not out of snobbery, but I hated it. I was too good for it.
Yeah. Not out of snobbery, but I wasn't a peasant.
Right. So it is a cheerleading movie, as you said, and I thought it was interesting to learn that the actors went to a 4-week cheerleading camp to avoid using stunt doubles. I mean, I do think there are stunt doubles used, but they did a lot of the cheer moves themselves.
Okay.
So,
I mean, it's better than like boot camp for Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I haven't been to cheer camp. I was a cheerleader, but not to that level. So I can't speak to how intense it was. Might have been on a par with boot camp. I don't have a ton of other background information. I have some stuff I'll share once we get into the discussion after you've seen the movie. But I did note some other summer 2000 films. Gone in 60 Seconds.
Never seen that, actually.
The Patriot.
Also never seen that.
But I'm a Cheerleader. So another cheer movie.
I do want to see that. I haven't seen it, but that's the one with Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah, we can cover that. I've seen, but I'm a Cheerleader.
Oh, okay.
Scary Movie and X-Men. So are you excited to watch this? Are you apprehensive?
I'm apprehensive.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, teen movies from the 2000s, as I said, we watched Fired Up and it kind of sucked, honestly.
All right. Well, you don't need to be rude.
So I don't know. I'm wondering how poorly this is going to have aged. I was never the target demographic for this movie, and now like triply so, because not only am I not in that demographic, but I've aged well past any. It might be endearing. I will be surprised. One of the things I told you, I wish we had covered Freaky Friday for the podcast because I thought the same thing about Freaky Friday, and I loved Freaky Friday.
That makes me so happy.
Really, really good. So I will allow that I can be surprised.
Okay.
But I am definitely going in this skeptical. I feel like this is going to be one of those movies that millennial girls are really fond of, like Hocus Pocus, and it's not actually all that great. So
why are you trying to make me mad?
I'm sorry.
Nobody was going to bring Hocus Pocus into this. You just need to keep it out your mouth.
And I have watched Not Another Teen Movie, and I believe that has the parody line, "Bring it on, it's already been brought."
It's already been broughten, I think is what she says.
Yeah.
Well, I will be curious to see what you think and to hear your opinions on how it has aged. So are you ready to be aggressive? Be aggressive? Because I am. You just made me really mad.
Yes.
All right. Let's watch it.
Missy is bank.
Bankrupt? We've already so decided on Jamie.
Yeah. Courtney, this is not a democracy. It's a cheerocracy. I'm sorry, but I'm overruling you.
You are being a cheer-tater, Torrance, and a pain in my ass. We already voted. Besides, Missy looks like an Ubered hike.
Courtney, I'm the captain. I'm pulling rank, and you can fall in line or not. If we're gonna be the best, we have to have the best. Missy's the poo, so take a big whiff.
Okay, so Dan, now you have watched Bring It On.
Yes, I have.
What did you think?
I think that, again, I wish that we had watched Freaky Friday for the podcast, because I would like to prove that not every movie you show me is a movie that I don't like.
You liked Carrie.
I did like Carrie. That's true. I did not care for this movie. It is a movie that is of its time. It has aged like milk.
In some ways.
In most of the ways. And I was never in the target demographic for a cheerleader movie in the first place. So even in 2000, I don't think I would have appreciated it or liked it other than all of the pretty girls in the year 2000. I would like to turn it around to you and ask you how you feel about this movie now in the year of our Lord 2026.
Well, I agree that many aspects of this movie have aged horribly. I'm gonna push back on you saying all of it has aged horribly, because you mentioned when we talked about it before we watched the movie that you knew that there was this racial component to the movie. I actually don't think that has aged horribly. And the caveat here is that I'm a very, very white lady. I think
people can tell from your voice and
I know
the way you generally comport yourself.
Not a shock. But the flip side of that, I would say, is that they don't really dig too much into that conflict. So it's not really exploring it. But I also don't think that it's aged that badly.
Well, stick a pin in the racial element because I want to come back to it. But there's two things that really stood out to me. First is it doesn't really follow any kind of narrative. It feels like someone who is really bad at explaining the plots of movies saw a teen cheerleader movie, described it to someone else, and they took dictation, wrote it down exactly, and then made that into a movie.
It has a narrative.
But it's so wandering and meandering, and it doesn't really feel like there's really kind of any specific direction.
Yeah, I think these things are tied together in that the movie sets up pretty early on that the main conflict is that the Toros have been stealing cheers for years and the Clovers are like, that ends now. So we have this conflict between the two squads, but the Clovers are really barely in the movie.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is it feels like the concept of an underdog sports movie or also a slobs versus snobs comedy going back to, Animal House and Caddyshack. Mm-hmm. So classic slobs versus snobs, not to say that the poor kids are slobs, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. That's just what the genre is called. It feels like we're watching one of those movies, but we're following the antagonists.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Kirsten Dunst's heart is in the right place. Eliza Dushku's heart is in the right place, but we're really not getting enough from the other side.
Oh, yeah, not at all. Like, they barely exist as characters. I don't even think anyone other than Gabrielle Union's character, I don't even think you ever hear their names spoken aloud.
You do. You hear the four main cheerleaders. Gabrielle Union is Isis. Uh-huh. And then the other three that really speak are the members of Black. And their names are Janelope, Lava, and LaFred. And all of their names get spoken.
Do they?
Yes.
Did not catch them at all. Once, I don't even think I caught Isis's name.
Janelope gets named a couple of times. The other two, I think their names are only said once.
The whole time, I felt like I would rather be watching a movie about the Clovers.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it felt like that would be so much more interesting. And it just, there was something that was so weird. I'm like, why are we watching these rich girls try their hardest?
See, and I want to comment on the fact that you described the genre as, the poor kids versus the rich kids, and now talking about the rich kids, because I feel like the movie is framing this as a race conversation or a race issue. And I feel like that's the legacy of the movie. And that's part of it. I mean, these things are all kind of tied together, but they are so classist. And I feel like that doesn't really get addressed in a very specific way.
Well, because the Clovers are not fully Black. Like, the main five, for however many are Black girls, but the entire squad is not entirely Black. And they make a point out of saying that the Clovers are from East Compton, but all of the girls on the other squad are affluent, and the idea is that it's a very nice neighborhood, it's a very nice public school. So it felt more like it was about class than about race. And I think the race almost seemed secondary and incidental. We've talked about this before with movies from this time period in the late 90s and the early 2000s, where everyone was like, well, racism is solved, so it's not really about racism.
I absolutely...
Which is woefully naive from that time period. But it did feel...
I mean, it's 2026 and racism still isn't solved, so...
Thank you, yes, for putting the button on that. But yes, it
You're welcome.
was, it felt more like it was about poor kids versus rich kids, but the movie follows the rich kids.
Yeah.
So it's an underdog movie where the underdogs win, but the underdogs are our antagonists.
Yeah.
And that feels very, very strange.
As I've been thinking about the movie since we watched it to prepare for discussing it, I have also been thinking a lot about Hairspray because I feel like this is another instance where this was really popular in the 2000s to be like, we want kids to care about racism. So let's give them a white savior to inspire them. I think Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray is more of an example of that than
Tracy
Torrance.
Turnblad is 100% an example of that. Someone in our TikToks put in a comment that said that they were given Tracy Turnblad as an example of a white savior.
Yes. I don't think Torrance and Missy are exactly the same, but I feel like that was the same thought process.
Do you? Because they don't do anything. Like, in fact,
but we're following them. That's the fact you're saying we're following them.
We are, but they also, like, the one gesture that Torrance, which is the weirdest name ever, but the one gesture that Torrance makes is rejected by the Clovers, and it's like, oh, okay, so they're going to do it on their own through the Nurse Roberts Oprah surrogate, I guess. The Clovers do it all on their own. The Clovers,
no, absolutely.
So there's no white saviorism here.
100%. I agree with that. I think, though, that Torrance was supposed to serve as, like, be like Torrance and care about people of color, care about poor people, care about, like, this is directed at young white audiences. Torrance cares about them, so you should too.
I guess. But it doesn't make for a very good movie, which is ultimately the problem, is that it's not a very good movie. It's also, the comedy didn't age very well. I don't even think I would have thought it was that funny in the 2000s. A lot of the humor is edgy, like, we're going to say slurs, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
And, I think the only parts that actually made me chuckle were the slapstick gags, because some of them are decently funny, but those were few and far between. And I don't want to say that teen movies from this era aren't that funny, because I love Mean Girls. Mean Girls is also 2000, right?
2004.
Okay, well, close. So Mean Girls is very close, contemporary. I love The New Guy, also starring Eliza Dushku, playing basically the same character. And I think those movies have aged mostly well, with a few, asterisks.
Yeah.
So I guess I just don't get it. Because ultimately it wasn't funny. I didn't care about the protagonists. I didn't want the protagonists to win, and they didn't.
Yes, which is good. They shouldn't have won.
And there is a much more interesting movie about the underdogs. And when you start and you think about it, there's no reason that this movie couldn't have been a traditional underdog sports movie. Mm-hmm. It could have been that the underdogs were copying from the rich girls, and the underdogs were doing all of the routines from the rich girls, and then they got caught and busted, and then they had to bust their asses to make it to finals and nationals, and then once they made it to nationals, then they won. Like, there's no reason. You couldn't reframe it in a lot of different ways. You could have had diverse high schools that had nothing to do with class or had nothing to do with race. So there was just all of this stuff that was mixed up in one movie, and none of it stuck and none of it really landed, and it just kind of felt like a mess of a movie, honestly.
Are you making puns? Stuck and landed?
Yes. I just didn't, but I don't get it. And is this, so my question to you is, are you still fond of this movie because this is a movie that you loved as a teenager and it was formative for you as a teenager, or do you still think that this is a good movie?
No, I don't think it's a good movie. I don't. There's nostalgia for sure. And it's comforting in that way, because I'm just sitting here thinking it's interesting that you bring up Mean Girls, because I mentioned that Bring It On, I saw that in my first couple weeks of my freshman year of high school. And then Mean Girls came out in 2004 when I graduated from high school. So just thinking about myself as a person and how I changed over the course of that 4 years, I see them so differently, even though you're right, they're they're not. They were not that far apart in time. But anyway, I have nostalgia for Bring It On. But even thinking about it, there's not a ton of moments in the movie that I would describe as being particularly funny. And I really do think that the storyline with the Clovers is so minimal, even though that is, I think, what people know about this movie. But I don't think it ages that badly, like I said, but there is so much else that is so hard. Like those slurs. I mean, they are just, it's sexist, it's homophobic, but it's interesting because there were reviews that were like, it embraces queerness, which I do think
for
was
the year 2000.
probably true in 2000.
Yeah.
So it's, not necessarily fair to judge it with a 2026 lens.
I mean, I know people back then and even now still who would refer to themselves with the F slur.
Which, yeah, they're not really the ones, like the queer characters are not really character, because I think it's really only Les, the one male Toros cheerleader who is canonically queer. He's never the one that says that word.
Yeah.
So, but I think people did think that he was
and
representation because he was queer. He was comfortable in it. I mean, I like him.
He wasn't stereotypically gay either. He was very masculine presenting. He was he wasn't stereotypically queeny or anything like that. So I did think that was refreshing for a movie from the year 2000. And I will say this, that's how we talked in 2000.
Yeah.
That's how people talked, because it was sort of like this sort of post-politically correct era where it was like, you can be tolerant, but you can reframe terrible things and you can refer to others or yourselves using these words that we've culturally now kind of backtracked, which is why you and I are not saying those words now. But like, I will own up to it. When in the year 2000, I would have said a lot of the things that the characters in these this movie says.
Yeah, no, and I know that for sure because I was also there during that time. What's confusing to me looking at it now is that it's not clear, it's not reclaiming the words entirely, because the football players use the F slur against the male cheerleaders. And when Eliza Dushku shows up to try out for the cheerleading squad, one of the other cheerleaders uses the D slur to belittle her. But then later, Eliza Dushku, who we are supposed to like, is like, she also uses both of those words.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so what are you trying to say about the use of these words?
If nothing else, that actually is how teenagers spoke in the year 2000.
I know.
So at least it captures that correctly, but that also doesn't mean that I want to watch that as a movie. I just go back to, they're trying to make these girls of absolute privilege into underdogs. Yeah. And they kind of succeed, sort of.
Yeah.
But then they lose anyway, which is...
okay, so this
so there's just a lot going on,
and none of it lands. Because I think this is a decent story about them having to band together and come up with a routine that is going to maintain their reputation for being excellent cheerleaders. But the fact that they make it a class/race issue where we already have underdogs, and you're right, they are trying to make the Toros underdogs, but we still don't. I mean, I don't remember how I felt.
Yeah, like they could have been going up against an even richer, even worse school, or they could have just been a solidly middle-class school going up against a rich girl's school. Like, you don't even necessarily have to. So
the Clover story could be its own thing, and the Toros story could also be its own thing. It doesn't need to be
one movie.
Yeah.
And so the fact that both of these storylines are in the same movie makes it feel really confused, makes the ending feel very anticlimactic, and really does make you wonder, like, why aren't we watching a movie about the Clovers? Or why did they do this in the first place?
That's why I don't think it's a good, I mean, I think it has a lot of problems, but I still don't hate it because I do like seeing the Toros succeed, and I like seeing the Clovers succeed. And you're right that the fact that this is all happening in one movie, it's disjointed and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But like, of course, I remember seeing this in the theaters and being like, the Toros cannot win. Like, that cannot be the outcome of this. And so good, they didn't. The Clovers win. wonderful. And then they come in second place and they're happy about it. And I'm like, yay. So everybody's happy. I mean, yes, it's simplistic, but I don't like it is also nice to see the Toros come from behind in their own story. But when you put it up against the fact that they're like going up against this much more disadvantaged group of people, it's like, but okay, so yeah, so why should we care? It's confusing, is I think the best. Like, I don't hate the Toros, except for maybe Courtney and Whitney, the bitchy ones. Mm-hmm. I don't even hate them really, but I don't hate their story. It just doesn't make sense in the bigger picture.
And one of them is the one non-white.
Yes, I know.
cheerleader on the Toro squad.
All right, so you didn't like it.
I did not care for this movie.
Did you like anything about it?
I'm nostalgic for 2000s fashion. That's really it. Okay. More crop tops and chokers, please.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So some background that I found on the movie before we get into the recap. This movie was written by someone named Jessica Bendinger. Mm-hmm. I don't know much of her other work except for Stick It. Have you heard of Stick It?
Isn't that also a cheerleading movie?
It's a gymnastics movie, so similar. Bring It On was inspired by her love for cheerleading competitions, and the cultural appropriation themes stemmed from her experience as a white writer at Spin magazine. So that's where the concept for Bring It On came from. There were mixed reviews. Some were positive and said that the movie was fun and did a decent job with some important themes that we've already sort of touched on. But then some negative reviews were that it was too crude, simplistic, and predictable. There was a lot of praise for Kirsten Dunst's performance, and I do think that she's good in this movie.
She was fine.
Bring It On is number 30 on EW's list of the 50 best high school movies.
Ew.
Number one is, you want to guess what
number one on... It depends on who made the movie and what generation they are, because if they're like old, then Fast Times at Ridgemont High is going to be up there. And if they're closer to our age, then Mean Girls is going to be at the top.
Older.
I have no idea.
The Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah. Okay. See, generational.
Yeah. Although I do love The Breakfast Club and you don't, so...
Which doesn't make any sense to me, because everyone I know who is a millennial and loves The Breakfast Club also has older siblings. So that's my ultimate theory. But I just, as a general rule, I don't love John Hughes movies either. So I'm putting that out there.
Okay, fair enough. So this fact is something I loved, that Bring It On was originally panned by Roger Ebert. He gave it 2 out of 4 stars, but then he later recanted and called it the Citizen Kane of cheerleader movies. So, okay. Make what you will of that.
All right.
The movie is considered to have a lasting impact due to the themes of cultural appropriation and racial inequality. And as I said, there were people who liked the queer themes and the queer representation, even though there are certain elements that are more problematic now. One review said, by wrapping its arms narratively around, quote, not only people of color, but queer kids and kids who might feel othered, Bendinger says Bring It On offered the overlooked and ostracized the chance to see themselves on screen.
It really does feel like Babies First of any of those things.
Yeah, that's a really
good
way of putting
Babies First cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Babies First.
I think that's kind of what I was getting at when I said, even though I don't think there is successful white saviorism in the movie, I think that that's what it was going for, is that Babies First. Look at racial inequality and cultural appropriation, targeted at people like me who were young and white.
I guess.
Well, what do you mean? If you're saying Babies First, but you're disagreeing with...
Here's what I don't understand. Does the movie want you to think that Torrance was right for trying to give the check to the... What are they? The
Clovers.
The Clovers? Or is the movie saying that Torrance shouldn't have done that in the first place? And again...
It's
it
really
just feels
hard.
Very confused.
Yeah, it's hard for me to separate out my memories of watching this movie and the way I feel about it now. But I do think that the movie is saying, like, it was a good thing for her to do this, but she didn't need to.
I guess.
I don't know. I feel like, is Gabrielle Union supposed to seem antagonistic in that scene? I kind of think she is a little bit.
I don't know. You know,
but watching it now, I'm like, good. She should rip up that check. She doesn't need your charity.
I mean, to be fair, they did need charity. They just needed it from somewhere else.
Not from a privileged white girl.
Yeah.
And her dad's company, her
I
dad's
guess.
undisclosed company. I don't know. I don't know what the movie wants us to think about that. But I don't think that we're supposed to think that Torrance is in the wrong.
And, it stinks because it's like, again, why do they need to win a contest by letter writing? Why couldn't they just make it to nationals on their own or find some other way, do something like their equivalent of a car wash, of a cheesy cheesecake car wash?
Yeah.
And they could have, if the movie spent any more time with the Clovers, or the movie could have just had the Clovers go to nationals. That doesn't need to be a whole thing. And so there's just so many decisions made that's like, why did you make this decision, Jessica Bendinger?
Or Bendinger. I don't know how to say it.
So I don't know. I stand by what I said. Is it sounds like somebody saw a movie once and described it very badly, and then they just made that into a movie.
I don't disagree with you. I don't see that it would be an issue to just have the Clovers be able to make it to nationals. But I will also say that I like that gives Torrance the opportunity to say, because when she finds out that they are not going or they're not on the list to go, and a lot of the other people on the squad are like, that's good because we're going to win. And she's like, but I define being the best as going up against the best there is out there. I like that.
Sure.
To be like, it's a hollow victory if you are not actually competing against the people who deserve to be competing against you.
Sure.
But I also do see the issues with how it's all framed and how they resolve the issue. Anything else before we get into the recap?
Jesse Plemons is punching well above his weight. Kirsten Dunst is...
Her real life husband?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Kirsten Dunst is adorable in this movie. It's been a while. I didn't want to watch Civil War because it sounds awfully depressing. So I haven't seen Kirsten Dunst in a while. And watching this movie, I was like, oh yeah, Kirsten Dunst is really, really adorable. So Jesse Plemons is punching above his weight. Jesse Plemons, most people saw him for the first time in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And the nickname the internet gave him was Meth Damon.
I hate his character in Breaking Bad.
I mean,
you're supposed to.
Most Jesse Plemons characters are very unlikable. He kind of specializes in that.
Yeah. I was trying to remember if this was Kirsten Dunst's first. It was definitely one of her first more like quote unquote adult roles.
This was the same year as Spider-Man.
Okay.
But she also is playing a teenager in Spider-Man. So.
All right. Well, let's get into the recap.
Okay.
We open with a cheer.
Uh-huh.
An exposition cheer.
An exposition dream cheer sequence.
An exposition dream cheer.
My first note is, oh, there are boy cheerleaders. My second note is, some of these lyrics are inappropriate for high schoolers.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. All that said, I do like this opening because it's peppy and it gets you excited for watching some cheerleading. We get a literal roll call, so we hear all of these characters' names.
Some of them, it might be the only time you hear their name for the entire movie.
We find out that they're going to be naming a new captain. So there's a lot going on in this cheer. And then Kirsten Dunst does a jump and she's suddenly naked. And then there's a lot of like catcalling and harassment from the dream crowd because yes, it is a dream. And she wakes up and she is so relieved that she is not cheering naked.
Mm-hmm.
Torrance goes off to school. We meet her boyfriend, Aaron, who is also a male cheerleader and is heading off to college. And then it's like we're back to Carrie because we are in a locker room with some half-naked teenage girls.
It's strange because if I had a nickel for every movie you've shown me for the podcast with a problematic teenage girl locker room scene, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
Yeah. I wonder if there was any inspiration drawn from Carrie for this locker room scene.
In a weird way, this almost felt a little more lurid, even though there was actual nudity in Carrie. This felt a little bit more like it's the 2000s. Look at our hot cast.
For sure. They're talking about the vote for captain. So they've just voted. They're talking about each other at full volume, even though they're only separated by like a row of lockers. And they're quipping. They're doing the thing that we later see in Not Another Teen Movie where, you know, you put the itch in bitch or whatever. Then they cut to the announcement of the new captain, and it's Torrance, Kirsten Dunst.
Yay, which Okay. Apparently this cheerleading squad is entirely feral. They have no coaching
They
supervision.
have no coach.
There's-
they have no adult supervision whatsoever.
There is one teacher shown for one brief moment in this entire movie.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time, they are entirely on their own. They have no adult sponsors. They are traveling across the country to nationals on their own, entirely on their own. And they're not all seniors either. So that means that there's unsupervised minors on this trip.
Absolutely.
On this school trip. And apparently, being a cheer captain de facto, first of all, it's a democracy, which is hilarious. And second
It's
of all,
not a democracy, it's a cheerocracy.
and second of all, it's like they are functionally the coach and the one person in charge. And they become, it becomes a cheertatorship.
Yes, it does. So Torrance is succeeding Big Red, who is played by Lindsay Sloan. Do you know Lindsay Sloan? Did you recognize her?
She looks really familiar, but I'm not
I think
placing
she's
her.
kind of a character actress, so she's been in things. But what I know her from is seasons 2 and 3 of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She played Sabrina's best friend in high school.
Maybe that's why, because I did watch that when it was contemporary.
Such a different character.
I don't remember anything except for Caroline Rhea and the talking cat.
Yeah. Okay. Those are reasonable things to remember. But Big Red has always been a confusing character to me because I guess she's graduated. So that's why she's being replaced as the captain. But then, so we find out that they've won the national cheerleading championship for 6 years running. And then later, just to cut ahead a little bit, when Torrance meets Isis, Gabrielle Union's character, Isis is talking about a redhead coming up and recording them. And it's like, how long has Big Red been doing this? And she was a freshman in high school, 14 years old. She was going up to East Compton and recording their cheers. Like, it's framed as this was all Big Red's doing. But I'm like, but she's 19. Like, she just graduated from high school.
Also, why does she have any kind of say or input into what they do?
Because she was
year?
the captain / coach / well, Torrance says the girl, when they're in the locker room, some of the girls are complaining about Big Red. And Torrance is like, you both sucked before she whipped you into shape. And I'm like, what power does this former high schooler of last year, probably several months ago, what power does she have over these girls? What is happening? I've always been confused about that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there.
That's the pull quote for me and this movie. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, now Torrance is the new captain, and again, she's being named as a senior, so I'm like, how long was Big Red the captain? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Torrance wants to try a really complicated lift to kick off her captainship, and it leads to one of the girls, Carver, getting seriously injured.
What is with the names
in this
movie?
Not all of them are weird.
Everyone has a weird name.
No, I mean, because there's Courtney and Whitney.
Okay,
Missy's normal. Missy's
kinda.
a fairly normal name. Casey, pretty normal. But yeah, Carver, Torrance,
Isis.
I mean, Isis, that's a name. I've heard that name before.
It's an Egyptian goddess.
Well, no, I know, but I've heard of people named Isis. Darcy's normal.
She's going to feel really unfortunate about her name in a couple of years.
The two male cheerleaders that we get to know on the squad are Les and Jan, which are both names, but I'm like, they're not the most common male names. I don't know. It feels, and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Carver gets seriously injured, and everyone is like, Torrance, you are not off to a good start as the captain. In homeroom at school the next day, I believe it's homeroom, we see the one teacher, and she introduces Cliff. He's a new guy, and he's edgy because he's wearing a Clash t-shirt.
Big Jonah from Superstore energy on Cliff. Who plays Cliff?
Jesse Bradford.
What else has he done? I feel like he was somebody they tried to make into a thing in the 2000s and he didn't quite make it out.
I recall him being in the movie Swim Fan. Did you ever? Are you familiar with Swim Fan?
Vaguely.
Do you know who Erica Christensen is?
Yes.
So she is stalking a swimmer that she is obsessed with at her high school. It's like a thriller. Jesse Bradford is the guy she's stalking. So she's the swim fan.
Do you think Jesse Bradford is cute?
I do.
Yeah.
What?
I could tell.
Because you know my type.
Yeah.
He is cute. And he's wearing the Clash t-shirt. He's so cool. I think this movie is decent at finding ways to drop exposition because we find out that he's moved around a lot because he lectures some guys in the homeroom about the loser sneeze not being cool, and it hasn't been cool in any of the places that he's lived. So I think it does a good job at that.
Sure.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Anyway, the cheerleaders have to hold tryouts to fill Carver's position. There's
a remark. Someone says something about the only cheering Carver will be doing is in the Special Olympics. And I'm like, first of all, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
That's not how any of that works.
Yeah. There's a lot of quipping in this movie. I do think that we talked about it before with the slurs, but there's a lot of edgy quipping, which I think was very popular at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an example of that.
Yeah, but it doesn't even make any sense. But it really is, again, that's how we talked in the year 2000. So, we made it out. This movie didn't.
Yeah. Well, humans have an opportunity for growth and movies don't. So I guess there's that. At the tryouts, again, there is no adult supervision, no adult oversight, people just showing up. And there's also no structure because I feel like typically if you're trying out for cheerleading, they're like, do this cheer or like, do these jumps, and people are just showing up and kind of doing whatever they want. It feels like we have somebody doing ballet that gets called out, but the person rapping doesn't get called out. The girl doing a lap dance doesn't get called out. We meet a girl who just broke up with her boyfriend and a girl who doesn't like wearing underwear. So we got a whole motley crew here. And Whitney's sister, who is, I guess, talented but boring.
She's not very talented. I actually would have taken Crying Girl or Stripper Girl over the Lazy Little Sister. Yeah. She was very lazy in her audition.
Yeah, she did not care.
Also, she's like 12. How is she in high school?
I think maybe she's supposed to be 14.
Okay.
Freshman in high school. I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? Because now Missy shows up. Missy, played by Eliza Dushku, and she is edgy. She's got a tattoo, which we find out is pen, and
her hair is like crunchy dreadish.
Yeah,
and
like
really gross.
Dread adjacent. They're not like actually dreadlocks, but she's wearing a black t-shirt and she is.
Oh, her hair looks so dirty and gross.
Yeah. And so they hate her on site, which I'm like, I don't know. They didn't really seem to dislike any of the other people who showed up, but Missy, they're like, oh God, who is this girl? We cannot let her be on the squad. And so they decide that they're going to rule her out by asking her to do some really complicated gymnastics. Joke's on them. She's a gymnast.
Or at least her stunt double is.
Prove to me. I said this to you when we were watching it. Prove to me it's not Eliza Dushku.
You can't prove a negative, but you can prove that you can't see her face during any of those flips on the gym floor.
She does a bunch of flips, but they still hate her. Courtney calls her a homophobic slur, and Missy storms off. And then Torrance is all like, this isn't a cheerocracy. I am the cheer-tater. I make the cheer-isions. I will deal with the cheer consequences. If there are no cheer options, we can cheer-tin you.
And she says that Missy's the poo, so take a big whiff.
Yes, she does say that.
What? I hated that line so much.
I mean, I just don't understand it because literally in the next scene, when she goes to Missy's house to convince her to join the squad, she says, we're the shit. So I'm like, so why did you
They say shit in this movie. It's PG-13.
They literally say it 2 minutes. Torrance says it 2 minutes later. Because it's trying to be clever quippy. Like, that's what that is.
Trying to be.
Yeah, no, I said trying because it doesn't succeed, at least not in that moment. But Torrance does go to Missy's house to talk her into joining the squad. And guess who's there? Cliff. Because Cliff and Missy are brother and sister.
Are they twins? Are they Irish twins? It is
I don't know.
Because
it is unclear.
They, in theory, Missy's a senior, right?
There's really nothing.
Is she a junior?
There's
they don't
nothing
to
establish what Missy is. So they could be twins or Missy could be a junior. I think Cliff is a senior because he's in Torrance's homeroom. Missy may also be a senior or she might be a junior.
Whatever.
I don't know.
I care about it as much as the movie cared about it.
It doesn't really matter. Torrance tries to talk Missy into joining the squad, but Missy isn't interested because the girls were so nasty to her, which fair. And it's not until Cliff says she's not the cheering type that Missy finally agrees to do it because that is how sibling rivalry works. Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't want to do this. And then her brother's like, well, you're not going to be good at it. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll show you. So she joins the squad. Practice the next day, she's observing, and the squad does a cheer, and Missy storms out again. Torrance follows her to be like, what the hell? Like, I went out on the line for you. And Missy takes her on a little field trip to East Compton to show her the East Compton Clovers doing the same routine, but not, because it is 150,000 times better.
I didn't actually understand at first that the point was that their routine was stolen. I thought that she was just showing them a much better cheer squad. And I literally wrote down, Clover's routine doesn't look that different from RCH, so why is Mrs. Jessie Plemons so upset? I didn't understand that it was about cheer copyright infringement and not just a better cheerleading squad. I thought the whole point was going to be that this inner city school had a much better cheering squad, and so they were going to have to better themselves even more. I mean, which again, better movie, but no, apparently there's this weird element of theft.
It's that the cheers are stolen, but also the Clovers are doing them so much better. They are. Trust me on this.
Yeah, this is like the thing with Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Like, I'm not a choreography person, so I'm just like, it is
night and day how much better the Clovers are than the Toros doing the same cheer. Trust me on this.
Okay.
But as you said, Torrance is shook by the cheerleading theft. So Missy and Torrance are leaving, and then the main Clovers cheerleaders, as I said, Isis, Janelope, Lava, and LaFred, they follow them to confront them and reveal that Big Red has been coming to their games for years and taping their routines to steal them. And they know about it because the Toros have been going to nationals, which is televised. So they've seen their cheers being performed at nationals. And Isis is like, but I'm the captain now. She says, look at me. I am the captain now. Sorry. And she is determined that the squad will make it to nationals. So the cheer stealing ends now. On the way back to Rancho Carne, or I guess they're from San Diego. I don't know. Torrance.
Rancho Carne. Yeah. The meat ranch.
Yeah. Meat ranch. The Rancho Carne Toros. Well, anyway, on the way back to their affluent.
The Meat Ranch Bulls is their name.
Torrance tells Missy a really dumb story about thinking that she's cursed because at cheer camp the previous summer, she dropped the spirit stick on a dare, and the person who drops the spirit stick goes to Hades. It is so stupid. But I'm sorry. I love it. The overdramatic scene where we see this happen at cheer camp it's camp. Like camp in the way that you don't like and I do.
And why Hades?
Goes to Hades. I don't know. I do think that that's a real...
Like, could they not say hell? I don't understand.
I think it was just supposed to be like over the top. And I don't know. But I do think that the spirit stick thing is real. It's I mean, like, that's a real superstition. But Missy's basically like, you're not cursed.
But also, why would Big Red dare her to drop the spirit stick in the first place?
Because Big Red is evil.
But Big Red wants her former high school cheerleading team to win nationals, and she set them up with their choreography, and she more or less handpicked Torrance as her successor. Yeah. So why would she curse Torrance?
Well, maybe Big Red
doesn't make any sense.
Maybe she doesn't believe in the curse and she just wants Torrance to look. I don't know.
But the look on Big Red's face, especially during that scene, is
she's like
yeah, no, she's got like evil girl face. Like, I don't like Torrance and I'm gonna mess with her. And it's like, what? Why are you?
I cannot. Big Red is like the most enigmatic character in all of film.
Okay.
I think that's the first time I've ever snorted on mic. I don't know why Big Red does anything she does. That's the bottom line. And neither does the movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
So the next day, Torrance tells the squad that they need to come up with a new routine because their routine is stolen. But nobody wants to because there's the amount of time until they have to perform. We have no idea what the time frame is on any of these competitions, but it's too late to change the routine. And so Torrance gets outvoted and Missy is annoyed, but she stays on the squad for some reason. I don't know. That also doesn't make sense because she was really mad and there's no reason for her to stay. What loyalty do you have to anybody, including Torrance now?
Well, she and Torrance became fast friends after their little road trip to...
I guess. Sure. Now it's time for the football game. Torrance, Les, and Jan pick Missy up, and she's dancing to Blacks As If in her doorway before she gets in the car. Okay. And then we get more slurs in the car.
Yeah, the whole conversation in the car was awful.
Yes. Because we get confirmation that Les is queer.
Yeah.
And that Courtney and Whitney are not, presumably because we know that Courtney isn't queer because she lets Jan
molest her during their routines.
During the game, because she doesn't wear underwear under her spanky pants, which, do you know what spanky pants are? Do you know the little...
The little cheerleader shorts.
Yeah. So he can molest her because she doesn't wear underwear under them, but they are basically underwear. I'm like, that doesn't... What are you talking about? And also, we see him do it in the game scene, and the physics of it make no sense to me because he is holding her up with one hand that he is... It's not physically possible.
Right. And also, literally everyone would see his hand up her skirt.
It's also so dangerous because you are literally supporting her and she's wriggling around and it's so stupid. But anyway, that's what we find out in the car scene. And then we're at the football game and Cliff is there and he's reading a book, which...
Someone has a line before we leave the car scene. First of all, I'm just going to say it. So you're fluent in is... What,
you speak.
Eliza?
Are you telling me you speak?
I thought she says fluent.
He says, oh, fluently.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That is something that someone in 2000 who was trying to be edgy and cool, but was saying that they are cool with gay people.
Yeah. No, I know.
Say.
I get it. I still won't say it.
Yeah. It's not great for several reasons, but it does feel like the one thing I will give this movie is that it is an accurate time capsule, except for phrases like, she's the poo, so take a big whiff.
Nobody was saying that at your high school?
Also, scamming on all your squirrel?
I don't know.
I don't remember, when is that said?
It's on the football field because the football team sucks. The Toros football team sucks.
That's right.
So the other team is talking about how the male cheerleaders are scamming on all their squirrel, which I guess is supposed to mean girls.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Well, Les isn't, but...
He could be bi.
He could be, but I don't think he is.
Okay. It's up to interpretation.
Okay.
So at the game... Cliff is there and he's laughing at Missy for trying to be peppy because she's not very good at it. And then she's like, I'm going to show you up. And he's like, whatever, let me go back to reading my book, which I have read a book at a football game. So that is representation for me. They do a really classist cheer at the other squad's expense.
Yeah, what is it? You're going to pump our gas someday?
That's all right. That's okay. You're going to pump our gas someday.
Which is problematic at best, but also really discounts the availability of self-pumping gas and indicates somebody who grew up in New Jersey probably wrote this.
True. And these are hard-hitting points. Thank you for your perspective. It's awful.
I love how there are so many more cheerleaders who never have any lines because they are essentially the stunt performers.
Yeah. Cliff and Torrance have a moment, which I think confused you a little bit. Did it not? I mean, the moment did not confuse you. She's looking at Cliff and he like looks away from his book and sees that she's watching him while she's cheering. And so they're kind of just like looking at each other flirtily. And then she gets confronted by Courtney and Whitney afterward because they see her looking at him and they say, you're having cheer sex with him.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay, I don't really. Oh, okay.
You're having cheer sex with him. What? No, what?
Okay, well, you know the term eye fucking.
Uh-huh.
That's basically what it is, but in the cheer context. She was,
I guess,
eye fucking while cheering. That's cheer sex.
Okay.
I don't think it's that hard to understand.
Okay, yeah, no, I guess maybe it's just me. It's not the movie. It's me. And the confidence at which they said it, like she knew exactly what they meant. And she's like, I'm not. You're having cheer sex with him. Does that... What?
I'm sorry. Well, it doesn't matter because now we have some guests showing up to the football game. The East Compton girls show up, and they show up because they do the same cheer at the same time. And again, they are much better. Take my word for it. And they also kind of confront them. They do the same cheer, and then they also like verbally attack them in cheer form. And they're like, stop stealing our stuff. And
which is a thing that happened all the time
Yes.
in high schools.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cheer battle.
Yeah.
They cheer battle. And then everybody, including the crowd, votes that the Toros need a new routine.
Yeah, because the crowd cares.
You laughed at that. You laughed when Torrance is like, all in favor of a new routine, and everybody raises their hand, and when the crowd raised their hands, you laughed.
Because I thought it was ridiculous that the crowd would care.
After the game, Torrance and Missy are having a sleepover, and Torrance is watching Cliff play the guitar in his room, and Missy catches her and is like, all right, so now she's suspicious. And then there is a toothbrush flirting scene.
Yeah, why didn't Torrance close the bathroom door when she went to brush her teeth? And Cliff just barged in and decided to also brush his teeth. And they have this weird flirty toothbrush.
Like, the flirting is the spitting. Like, when they're spitting toothpaste out, they're kind of like, that's the flirting?
Is this cheer sex? Is that what that is? Is this cheer sex?
Yes. You got it. I'm so proud of you.
This movie is so dumb.
The next morning, Torrance calls Aaron, her boyfriend, who she's been trying to get in touch with, but he's too busy with college. And she finally gets in touch with him to ask for help with this situation, and also to make him promise he didn't know that Big Red was stealing cheers. He gives her the name of a choreographer named Sparky Pilastri. I cannot count the number of Sparky Pilastris I've known in my life. It is, how do you differentiate?
Right. It's a common name.
Yeah.
Joseph Smith. Sparky Pilastri.
Exactly. We also see that Aaron...
Zephram Cochrane.
Yeah. I wish Sparky Pilastri had invented the warp drive. We see that Aaron has a female friend sleeping over in his bed, so he's cheating on Torrance.
Sure. Which I don't understand because Aaron's face looks like a police sketch.
Yeah.
He does not. He looks like an assorted parts bin of faces got slapped onto a human.
I meant to look this up and I did not. So I hope that this is correct. But I believe that the actor who plays Aaron is also in Legally Blonde. People are not even going to remember him from the scene. You're probably not going to remember him from the scene. But you know when she first gets to Harvard and she's sitting in the circle and they're introducing themselves?
Yeah.
He's the guy leading the conversation. He's like, okay, cool. Like, he's like, I think that's him. And I think these were like his only 2 parts ever.
Because he has a weird face.
It's not that weird.
It's pretty weird.
Okay.
I was discomfited looking at him. It's unsettling.
Well, how did you feel looking at Sparky Pilastri when he shows up to the practice?
I kept looking at him going, all right, without his weird mustache, is he that guy? Like, I feel like I've known him from something else.
Did you look him up?
No.
Ian Roberts?
That means nothing to me.
He's the literal doctor in Arrested Development.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And yeah, he's been in a bunch of things.
You skipped over the car wash.
Oops. Oh yeah, because they need to raise the money to pay for Sparky. Okay.
How could you forget about the car wash scene? If you wanted to make the locker room scene look less problematic.
Yeah. Okay.
Then you have a bikini car wash of high school girls and guys, to be fair.
Yeah.
Doing a cheesecake car wash and a shot when Eliza Dushku meets her brother by her boobs literally entering the frame.
Yes. Because he's ogling Kirsten Dunst and then Eliza Dushku's boobs come into frame. I mean, in fairness, he goes, ah! So there's that.
A scene that exists solely for cheesecake reasons, but the target audience of this movie are mostly people who are not going to appreciate. Although,
I mean,
guys do. I mean,
and some girls like girls.
Yeah, but
this movie might have been a sexual awakening for some queer millennial girls.
I do. Yeah, I wonder if that. I don't think that was what was intended. I think that might have been a side effect.
That scene was to get the boys to come to the movie.
I guess, or to make the boyfriends.
Yeah, it's a little, here you go.
I don't know. It just feels
I will say, though, that
and
the car wash scene, and I didn't confirm this, but it feels like it was improvised, and it seems like they were having fun. Like, I think
Sure.
they just, set them up and filmed it, but it seems like everybody was kind of having fun, so it's all right.
I imagine this was a fun movie to make.
Yeah,
It's just not
I'm
a
sure
fun
it
movie to
was.
watch.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, they're doing the car wash to raise the money to pay for Sparky Pilastri, who then shows up to practice and is,
bullying all the girls.
Yes.
And he really picks on Darcy.
Poor Darcy.
Which is absolutely insane to me because in a movie full of beautiful people, except Aaron, who looks like a police sketch, everyone else in this movie is so pretty. And Darcy is probably the most gorgeous one. Like, she looks like a Greek statue. I was looking at her in this movie and I was like, wow, if she was 25 years younger, she could be playing Wonder Woman right now. Like, she is fit and she has a gorgeous face and he is fat shaming her
so badly.
And
he tells her to skip meals.
And like, he looks at her and I'm like, all right, I guess this is before J-Lo taught everyone that a big butt is actually desirable. So I'd have to look at the timing there. But seriously.
Well, and that is, it's really sinister because I think that this scene is supposed to be funny for the most part. And
you are supposed to view him as wrong.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes, I think so. But the target audience for this movie is young women. And that is so problematic to frame that way, to take a girl who is in great physical shape and body shame her, because what message does that send to the people who are seeing your movie?
Peak physical shape.
She was a fitness model and she won like a fitness competition of some kind. I saw that when I looked her up.
Yeah.
She looks amazing, but he's fat shaming her. And it's really egregious because some of the girls get things like, he says to Missy, smile. Don't smile. But he literally tells Darcy to skip meals because when you skip meals, your body feeds off fat sources. And he says, if you skip enough, maybe your body will eat your ass. That is a horrible thing to put in any movie, let alone one that is targeted at young girls.
Yeah. No, it's awful. And I know that that's a thing that probably happened in cheerleading in the 90s and 2000s, and maybe even today. Who knows? Like how much better
that
it's
may
gotten.
be true. Although I'm sure there have always been problems in these areas, but I have to wonder what would have happened if there was another adult present. In this scene.
Yeah.
This is where we learn about spirit fingers, which, did you know that was a thing? Because that was something that I think people quoted a lot. These are not spirit fingers.
Something.
These are spirit fingers.
I feel like it's something you've quoted to me.
These gold.
But outside of you, I don't think I've ever heard it before.
Well, people did quote it. It was not just me.
No, I believe you. I totally believe you.
We have another slur in this scene. Not a homophobic slur, an ableist slur. Cheerleaders or dancers who have gone R slur for a disability.
Yeah.
A developmental disability. Not cool, Sparky. So he teaches them a routine, and then we cut to regionals, and another squad gets up before them and does the exact same routine.
I want to say at one point, first of all, the regionals and the national scene later on, it stands out that you can tell that they went and found actual high school cheerleading teams because the girls look high school aged, whereas all the main actors are in their 20s or 30s.
Yeah. Although there's a little girl in the regional scene who's fighting with Courtney. And I'm like, is this an all ages cheerleading competition? Maybe there are age groups. I feel like that's a thing.
When they first get to the regionals, there is one squad that is just spraying themselves down with hairspray. And my note was, that must be the squad from Baltimore.
Very good. Although I will say that's a good joke, but I have to say that is so relatable. I did cheerleading competitions when I was in middle school, which, I went to a very small Catholic school. So it was like the Catholic school cheerleading competition. It was not big like this. I didn't do any competitions in high school, but I did dance competitions. And it was basically like being in a permanent cloud of Aquanet. at any dance competition. So that I was like, yes, that's exactly what it's like. So the other squad does the same exact routine, and the Toros are like, what the hell? This is not good. And then they get up, and you don't want to be the second squad to do the routine because it reflects badly on both squads, but it looks worse when they've already seen it.
Yeah.
So the cheer authorities talk to Torrance and they want to disqualify the squad, but there really isn't a rule against it. So they are going to let them go. And they do still get to go to nationals because they won
last year. That guarantees them a spot, I guess.
It guarantees them a spot to go to nationals. It doesn't guarantee that they'll place or make it to the finals, but they can at least compete at nationals. And I don't think that that's unusual. The Clovers are also at regionals, and they're great. That's kind of all. We just see them perform and then laugh at the Toros when they are humiliating themselves on stage. Big Red is also there, as is Aaron, and they confront Torrance. Big Red is furious that Torrance is running her squad into the ground. Again, go to college, Big Red.
Yeah.
Like, have your own life. Why do you care about what your old high school cheerleading squad is doing?
Yeah.
But she's furious, and Aaron is nicer to Torrance, but he thinks that she should turn the squad over to Courtney and Whitney because they are just like Big Red. And Torrance is a great cheerleader, but maybe she's not captain material. She's not thrilled with this, obviously, but she lets Aaron drive her home. He gives her a very sloppy kiss that she clearly does not want. And it's made worse by the fact that Cliff is waiting for her on her porch with flowers and a tape that he made.
Because he did see her waving at Police Sketch and thought she was waving at him.
Blowing a kiss was the bigger thing.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting like one behind the other. And so she waves and they both wave. And then Aaron blows her a kiss and she blows one back. But Cliff thinks she's blowing a kiss at him. So he's like, oh.
He's like, are we having cheer sex?
And they are. They're not. She's having cheer sex with Aaron. So he goes to her house with flowers and a tape that he made for her, which, when did he make that tape? Because I'm realizing now, if he shows up because he thinks that the little blown kiss is a sign, did he go home and record that immediately? Because how long was she with Aaron after the competition? It doesn't matter. He's upset because Torrance tells him that Aaron is her boyfriend. And so now Torrance is at her absolute lowest. They got humiliated at regionals. Her boyfriend thinks that she should turn the squad over because she's not captain material. She doesn't actually like her boyfriend. She likes Cliff, and she broke his heart.
Yeah, it's terrible.
She's in a bad place.
It's awful. I don't care. I really
can't wait until we record our episode on Thor 2 because that is my exact attitude about everything that happens between Thor and Jane.
That's fair.
But she listens to his tape and it's a kind of punk song and she starts dancing to it. I like that song. It
was fine. I was distracted because Torrance's name looks even dumber when you see it written out.
What is that? It's not only is it not a name. I mean, that's a city in California. It's a city in California. It's not a person's name that I've ever heard about. But her name is Torrance and she's on the Toros cheerleading squad. Like, what is that?
Like, I have to name my main character. Come up with a Torrance.
They're the Toros. Torrance. Done. Print. Torrance goes to practice the next day. Whitney and Courtney are like, we're the captains now because Aaron told us that we're the captains now and we're not going to go to nationals. And then Torrance is like, okay, hold on. Aaron can't rescind my captainship. I want to be the captain. I want us to come up with a new routine. I want us to actually be creative. We can do it in 3 weeks.
This whole scene was making me go, what are the rules for this ostensibly official cheerleading squad?
There are no rules.
There are no rules in cheerleading.
We see other coaches
Mad Max
at nationals. We see adult women interacting with other squads, but neither the Clovers nor the Toros seem to have any kind of adult leadership. It makes no sense. But the squad agrees that they will come up with a new routine. They only have 3 weeks, but we get a montage of them like learning a bunch of different dance styles that they can incorporate into their routine. And I'm like, how did you learn all of these different types of dance to create a routine, which you then have to learn and drill to be ready for nationals? And also you go to school. Like, there is no time. The timing on this, it does not make any sense.
Also, I know it's Southern California, but like there do not appear to be any seasons in this movie. I don't know.
I have
when
no
things
idea.
are supposed to happen.
I think that this is supposed to be like October 1st. Like they've been in school for a month and all of this has already happened. The time frame is so unclear.
We've already moved past it, but I did have a note. Oh my God, he didn't make her a mixtape. He made her an original recording. This is awful, and she actually likes it.
It's a good song.
Okay. It was very cringy, it felt.
Well, the beginning. Oh, Torrance, can't stand your cheerleading squad.
You know the whole thing, don't you?
But I love your pom-poms. I'd feed you bonbons all night. Yes, I do know. I could continue, but I won't.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Torrance goes to the college to break up with Aaron. She breaks up with him because he did not support her, but she does also discover that he's been cheating on her because the girl is in his room and she is disgusted when she finds out he's a cheerleader. So, okay, cool.
The movie does a lot of confronting stereotypes about male cheerleaders, but it does it in such an awkward way. There's a scene where two football players are harassing the straight cheerleader,
Jan,
while he is stretching out peak Eliza Dushku. And I'm like, there is nothing gay about stretching out that lovely therapist's legs.
Yeah.
She's a therapist now. She went.
Really?
She went.
Oh.
She retired from acting and went to school, and now she's a therapist.
Like a mental health
Yeah.
therapist? Oh, that's awesome. I love that for her. In that scene when he's stretching her, one of them is like, maybe we should join the squad. And then the other one calls him a slur.
Yeah, as you do.
My favorite moment when the jocks are harassing the cheerleaders, though, is after the game when they go, Jan, he's our man, or whatever. They're like fake cheering at Jan. And he goes, dude, you just lost. Torrance tells Cliff that she broke up with Aaron, but he's still mad at her. You seemed frustrated by that.
It seemed very movie convention. And also, like, why would he be mad at her when he made assumptions and then he got mad at her because she didn't even reject his advances? She was flirting
with him, though. She had cheer sex with him, Dan.
It's ridiculous.
Well, but let me counter with this. He misunderstood and made assumptions. It's crazy to think that a teenage boy who got embarrassed would react inappropriately and unreasonably.
Maybe I'm just thrown off because he's fully 27.
Teenage boys are known for their emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's fair.
The Toros find out that the Clovers aren't on the list for nationals, and for some reason they know it's because they can't afford to go. I'm not really sure how they find that out, but they do. And so Torrance...
They just assume.
That would not be problematic at all. Torrance talks her dad into getting his company to sponsor the Clovers. She's very passionate. Her parents, this is seen as very weird too, because she's like, do the right thing, Dad. And then her parents are like,
we haven't even talked about Torrance's little brother yet, who is extraordinarily annoying, but in a realistic little brother kind of way.
Yeah.
And I can't decide if I liked that or hated it because he is an awful little human being, but also he is a very accurate, annoying little brother.
Yeah, it's pretty on point. I do like some of his moments, like when she comes home after she makes captain, like at the very beginning, and she says, I made captain, and her brother, who has been listening to her on the phone, says, yeah, and you sent a girl to the hospital on her first day. Aye, captain.
I like the moment when he tells her there's something that's really important, and then he just farts on her and leaves.
He is an accurate little brother.
Yeah.
I think, and we don't really talk about her parents either.
We barely exist.
They barely exist. There are no adults in this movie. I mean, other than the actors, but the characters are all children. We get a little bit with her mom at the very beginning of the movie. She talks Torrance into taking an extra difficult class to prepare her for college. I think this is just so that we believe that Torrance is not an airhead. It's supposed to be like, yes, she's a cheerleader, but don't worry, she can take advanced chem. I feel like it's trying to dispel stereotypes by maybe feeding into stereotypes a little bit.
But isn't there a thing where her grades really aren't all that great? Isn't there like I thought there was a brief aside where like she's not doing all that great in her classes.
Her mom says that if she put as much effort into her classes as she does into cheerleading, she'd be in great shape. But she also agrees to take advanced chem. So I don't really know. I think this is just supposed to be like, she's a blonde cheerleader, but she's not stupid, guys. So she just doesn't care about school.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what we're supposed to get. And there is also the joke where she tells her mom mothers have killed to get their daughters on squads. And her mom says that mother didn't kill anybody. She hired a hitman, which is a real story. There was a story about a woman who hired a hitman because her daughter didn't make a cheerleading squad. Her dad, we just see until this moment later in the movie where Torrance is like, she calls him Mr. Level Playing Field. So in that moment, we get this idea that like he cares about equal opportunities for people. I don't know. It just gets dropped in there, but to explain why he would care about her asking the company to sponsor the Clovers, it's all really weird. But she gets the check and she takes it to East Compton to give to the Clovers. They are brainstorming ways to raise the money themselves to get to nationals. And when Torrance shows up,
they're writing the letter to Nurse Roberts' Oprah already.
Yes, they are. And then Torrance shows up and she's like, here, I got my dad's company to sponsor you. And Gabrielle Union is like... She should have led
with, we want you to go because we think you're the best and we want to try to beat you on a level playing field. She doesn't say any of that. She just does try to make it like charity. And Gabrielle Union rejects that.
And I think that is interesting given what we were talking about before of like, does the movie want us to think that Torrance is right or wrong for doing this? And honestly, because I said I like the moment when she says, when they find out that they're not on the list and she's like, no, I want to go up against them because if we're going to win, I want to win against...
But she doesn't tell that to them.
She should. And that does totally change the interaction. It's not like, no, I feel bad for you that you can't go. Like, this is charity. If she had framed it like, this is a competition. We want, if like, what she said to her squad, if we want to believe we're the best, we have to go up against the best. That's you guys. So here, I want to help you get there. But no, she's just like, here's your check. And Isis rips it up. And this is where she tells Torrance to bring it because she's like, I was just trying to do the right thing or just trying to help or something. That's what Torrance says. And then Isis is like, you want to know what you can do? When we're at nationals, don't feel sorry for us. Bring it. And Torrance is like, oh, I'll bring it. And we're like, yeah, woo. The Clovers finish writing their letter to Nurse Roberts' Oprah, and then we see that they are getting their money, and they appear on the show. They kind of make a fat joke at her expense.
Yeah.
They send her a cheerleading uniform. She's an honorary Clover for life. It's fine.
Again, it might have more impact if we had spent more than a minute with the Clovers at all.
For sure.
And at this point, if I knew any of their names.
You knew Isis, though.
I don't think I did, actually. I don't think I knew it till the end credits rolled. I know you said that somebody says it at some point, but I didn't catch it.
Now we're at nationals in Florida. And we know that because we get an announcer.
Very curvy announcer talking about teenage girls in skirts. And I'm like, wow, that was wow.
Gross. Thanks for that. Love it. At the semifinals, we see the squads preparing to go on. Isis and Torrance have come to an understanding as two captains. They
have a moment.
Give each other advice.
And then they act like they're not going to take it, but then they turn around and they both take each other's advice.
And then the Clovers are like, what was that? And Isis is like, we understand each other.
I guess.
Cool. Fine.
Sure.
Great.
That's character development.
We see a montage of performances. We find out
it does look like mostly high school actual cheerleaders. Again, standing in stark contrast to the stunt people and actors for the main squads. I love that the religious squad is the popes.
Yeah. Well, they're from New Pope.
New Pope, that's what it was,
They're from New Pope. Both squads make finals. The night before finals.
There's a montage of a bunch of stuff happening, like girls vomiting and people messing up and
people
stuff.
Falling.
And the one girl who falls and her face is completely bloodied.
Yeah.
I thought that was the funniest thing in the movie, and it's really not even that funny.
The other girl that's talking to her is like, I don't think anybody noticed. And then she's like, really?
And
her face is all bloody. And then she goes, we should go find your tooth.
That was about the funniest thing in the movie, and it wasn't even that funny.
We get a moment where Les is connecting with a male cheerleader from a different squad. That was cute.
It was cute. That's the most that you get because it's 2000.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be worse. There's a scene.
Also, how do Isis and Torrance know each other's names?
That's a really good question. I don't know that they ever call each other by name. So
no, at some point Isis does say Torrance's name because I wrote down how the fuck she know Torrance's name.
That's a good question. There's a scene where Missy and Torrance are bonding because they're best friends now.
Yeah.
That's the night before the finals. Right before the Toros go on, the day of the finals, Missy points out that Cliff is in the crowd. And Cliff and Torrance wave at each other, I think, and she's very happy to see him there.
They're going to have cheer sex now.
They are.
Also, her family comes and her little brother.
Yes,
too.
her little brother's there. There's a moment where Courtney is looking for her Spankies, and then it cuts to Torrance's brother walking around with them on his head. And there's some bickering between the siblings. But then I will say it's nice that after the Toros perform, we cut to her family and her brother is also clapping. I'm like, that's really cute. That's sweet.
Are you going to talk about the routines, the climactic routines?
I was just going to say that they're both good.
They are, and this might be a Devil Went Down to Georgia kind of situation where you are familiar with the song The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and it always tickles me that it seems like the devil's fiddling is always better than Johnny's. Although I have read that people say that Johnny's is technically more impressive, but the devil's is a lot flashier and sounds better to a fiddle layperson. And this was the same thing with the cheer routines, where I thought that the Toros routine actually seemed more impressive and cool because it was mixing all those different styles. And part of that is because we spent all of that time with them and we didn't get to spend any time at all with the other squad. So it's like, was it actually better, or is that just it's flashier, but not necessarily better? I don't know. I'm not qualified to judge. So it's a Devil Went Down to Georgia kind of situation.
So first of all, I want to go on a little bit of a tangent, but it's not completely unrelated to the movie because I am familiar with the song, but I'm not as familiar with the lyrics as I am with the music of Devil Went Down to Georgia. And the reason for that is because in the 1996 Olympics, Dominique Moceanu performed her floor routine to just the instrumental version of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And I have watched those Olympics so many times, first on the VHSs that we recorded from television and then on YouTube, that I can hear the music clear as day in my mind, but I don't know the lyrics.
Okay.
So there you go. Also, I think both squads are very, very good. Both routines are very good. They are different, but they're both really excellent. So that's my take on it.
Sure, I guess.
I agree that there's more creativity to the Toros' music. Mm-hmm. And we see, I guess, some of the styles that they were supposedly learning, but both of the squads are just really wonderful.
I really do think it's funny that at the midpoint of the movie, I had no reason to cheer for the Toros at all. And then after they spend all that time doing all the research and coming up with their own routine, and they have the montage and everything, and I'm like, well, there's a montage. Now I'm kind of behind them. And now I do kind of want the Toros to win, but I don't want the Toros to win. Yeah. So it's just a very confused movie.
Yeah. Montages are so good for building hype, making you feel like, okay, yes, I want to see the best outcome of this. We get the announcement of the winners, the top three. New Pope takes third place. Mm-hmm. The Toros get second, and the Clovers win. Yay!
Yay, I guess.
And the Toros, when they find out that they came in second place, there's this beat where they're like, how do we feel about this? And then Courtney, we haven't talked a ton about the other cheerleaders, but Courtney has been the one who all along has been like, I don't want to do a new routine, and has been reluctant to change things up or go along with the rousing speeches that Torrance has given. And Courtney is the one who says, second place, hell yeah. So we're supposed to be like, okay, they're happy. And then they cheer and they're excited.
Okay.
And then the Clovers win, and they get a big check. And Isis and Torrance have another moment where they're like, yay.
We respect each other.
Yeah.
Racism is solved.
Yes, exactly. And then Missy comes over to talk to Torrance, and she has her very own spirit stick, which is just like a plastic version of the spirit stick. And she drops it, and then they're like, maybe we should burn it. Cliff comes up, and Missy's like, all right, well, I'm going to go over here. And then Cliff and Torrance kiss. And that's the movie.
That is technically a movie. that we watched.
And then we get the end credits with all the cheerleaders dancing to Hey Mickey with bloopers. So you hated it.
I didn't hate it, but it was very, I don't know, D-. Like it didn't work. I will say this. I'm going to repeat what I said for the Seven Brides for Seven Brothers review, which is that the worst thing I can be in a movie is bored. And there were stretches of this movie that didn't work, but I wasn't entirely bored. So at least there's that. But it also, it just doesn't work. It's a confused mess of a movie. It is of its time. It is a time capsule of a time that most of us probably would rather forget. It's that weird precipice of edgy late 90s, but pre 9/11. So I don't know. It's a weird time period in US history. It's a weird time period in movie history. It's a very confused script. It's like 3 different better movies are in this movie.
What's the third?
You've got your underdog cheerleader movie, your slobs versus snobs movie, and then your just, I don't know, cheerleader solve racism movie.
Okay. Just like Tracy Turnblad solved racism with dance.
Yeah, exactly.
Dance and cheerleading are going to save us all.
So I didn't hate it, but I will probably never watch it again.
Okay.
It was not good.
That's fair. I mean, you described it as baby's first cultural appropriation movie, and it was. I'm pointing at myself. Baby's first cultural appropriation movie. I was 14 when this came out. I went to Catholic school, which does not have a ton of racial diversity. So it is problematic in a lot of ways, but it did spark something in me that I think is not bad. It showed me issues that I had never thought about in a way that a 14-year-old girl could understand, which is the problem with it now that we're looking at it as adults.
Well, and also it's less a problem with how the movie does it and more a problem of what was the media landscape like in 2000 as well, when this was the pinnacle of social messaging for 14-year-old you. So...
It's a wonder we made it out alive.
Honestly. Well, jury's still out. So.
Well, thank you for watching it with me.
You're welcome.
I think it's not an unimportant piece of...
Really?
I think so. I feel like...
It doesn't deserve preservation in the Library of Congress or anything like that.
But Seven Brides for Seven Brothers did. So sit with that for a minute.
But I can get it from a time period perspective and like how... Okay, no, I can't. Sorry, I can't defend it. It honestly, maybe this, I will go on record and say that Bring It On is better than Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, and Bring It On deserves to be in the Library of Congress more than Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. That's how much I hate Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Very brave of you to say. Thank you.
Your entire family is going to mob me.
I mean, you are really not making any friends with the people that I know. I mean, you're right, but this is part of what we're doing here on this podcast is looking at older movies and talking about what has aged well. And so much of this movie, Bring It On, has not aged well. Mm-hmm. But again, it's hard for me to separate the person that I was when I watched it. And I don't know, it did open my eyes in certain ways. And maybe that's what's wrong with me.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, on that note, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time. I'm Heather.
I'm Dan.
And this has been Blind Spots and Second Thoughts.